Muslims are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Iraqis are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Afghans are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Muslims are under attack. What do we do? Thanks everybody for coming out today. If you haven't grabbed a sign, please do so. We want people to see what our message is. We want people to know that we are here to say no to Islamophobia. We are here to say no to war. 9/11 is repeatedly used to wage war on people at home and abroad. And we are here to say, not in our name. The U.S. government has used the events of 9/11 as an excuse to justify a war agenda that has led to 2 wars and occupations. Right-wing elements are now using the anniversary of 9/11 to whip up a campaign against the Muslim community in the United States. In 2001, 3,000 people lost their lives on September 11th, and while we have not forgotten this tragedy, we cannot allow those events to hold us hostage to a war agenda that is not in the interests of us or in the interests of the people of the world. The burning of the Quran and the hysteria over the building of mosques in New York and other cities are bigoted acts against Muslims. These are conscious acts of racism against Arabs, South Asians, and African Americans, and national security is repeatedly used as an excuse for justifying what is simply plain old racism.
7 nuevas bases militares en Colombia.
The Obama administration, which talks about peace, has, with the cooperation of the Colombian government, started to build 7 military bases in Colombia.
Militares, como las 7 bases en Colombia, son planes económicos, militares y paramilitares.
These plans are not just military plans, but also economic and political and military plans. And paramilitary plans.
Todo con el objetivo de imponer un modelo económico, en este caso el Tratado de Libre Comercio.
All with the goal of imposing a neoliberal economic model with free trade agreements.
Quienes son solidaridad internacional.
So we call for international solidarity.
A acciones concretas contra la guerra.
With concrete actions against the war.
No importa si esta es en Irak, en Afganistán, en Colombia, o lo que se debe venir, una posible guerra contra Irán.
And whether it's in Iraq, Iran, or in Colombia, or a possible war against Iran.
Gracias.
Basically, we, as everyone here probably agrees with, believe that the government is really not going to change on this issue. It's going to constantly be pro-Israeli. And so we have to act at the grassroots level to encourage boycott, divestment, and sanctions of the State of Israel until it agrees to comply with international law and human rights principles. Minnesota Break the Bonds is a state-level divestment campaign. There's many ways that you can be involved. Feel free to visit our website, which is mn.breakthebonds.org, and ask myself or Sarah Martin or Tracy if you have any questions.
Everyone's favorite game show, You Parents! All right, let's welcome our returning champion this week, Mr. Hal Burton! Well, let's go ahead and get started. Congresso, why don't you tell our contestants what's at stake for the first round?
I'd love to, media. To the winner of round 1 will go complete and exclusive control of both the East Baghdad oil fields and the Caño Limon oil pipeline in Colombia. And with that, we'll even throw in a bonus death squad to keep away any would-be eco-terrorists.
Wow. Well, Jane, as the challenger this week, you get to go first. All right, let's get started. On the left, we have a picture of suspect A, Abdurrahim Abdurrazak Al-Janko. He's a prisoner at Guantanamo for the last 8 years. And before that, this Syrian was a college student in the United Arab Emirates. Our elite military forces picked him up out of the rubble an Afghan prison where he had been held as a prisoner and was being tortured by the Taliban. On the right, suspect B, General James Mattis, who just last month took over control of both the Iraqi and Afghan wars. In November 2004, this Marine planned the bloody second attack on Fallujah, Operation Phantom Fury. And later, referring to shooting Afghans, General Mattis said, "It's a hell of a lot of fun to shoot them. You know, it's a hell of a hoot." Ready? You pick the terrorist. I'm gonna pick B. I'm sorry, Jane. The correct answer is A. Ajanko is the terrorist.
How is that possible?
Oh, Jane, don't worry. If you're concerned about General Mattis' little verbal indiscretion, Secretary of Defense Robert Gates is positive that in the last 5 years, he's learned how to speak publicly in an appropriate way.
And we are here today to unite with everyone who came here and everyone around the country around three important messages. One is we say no war in Afghanistan, no war in Iraq, no war here at home. Number two, we say that money that is being wasted on killing our brothers and sisters abroad should be spent here at home to help people have housing, to help people have education, health care, and all the things that we consider basic human rights, including a living income so we won't go homeless.
Well, as most of you know, repression of dissent in our country goes in cycles. And it's clear we're into another one of those cycles right now. While things have gotten steadily worse since 9/11, I actually trace it back to an event a couple of years earlier. How many of you were out in Seattle in December, November of 1999 along with me? How many folks who were in Seattle? That was one amazing experience. Our success at stopping the ministerial meeting of the WTO by nonviolently occupying the streets scared the rulers. It scared them badly. Not only that, but our success in Seattle inspired a whole series of mass mobilizations. The IMF, the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, even the Republican and Democratic parties have not been able to meet in peace since then.
I also just want to say that it's important for us to be out here today because there are lots of protests going around this country. In New York City and in Gainesville, we need to challenge the messages of Islamophobia. We need to challenge the Tea Party. We need to challenge people who believe that this war is about self-determination and democracy and liberty when we know that this war is a war about resources, it's a war about control, it's a war about U.S. domination over other countries. We also really appreciate that everyone is out here today because for as many people are here today, the American population is against this war and they need to be able to see that in the streets we are challenging these messages.
But 9/11 was a catalyst for war, okay? And if we're opposed to war, then we need to figure out how our government gets us there. This is an important part of the whole process. The other thing is sometimes this conversation, as I said, gets shut down, and even within the peace movement. So I strongly encourage you today to realize that we're all on the same side. We are against continuation of war. And I ask you again to Google World Trade Center number 7. Watch for yourself. Start to take a look at that. Architects and engineers do a great job of taking us through point by point. Now, last thing I want to do is we got to set aside the emotion of September 11th to do this conversation. We got to set aside the politics. We're asking each individual to exercise their right. Okay? Architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, and our local group is Minnesota 9/11 Truth. Thank you so much.